today we will start the first chapter, Introduction to Micro and Macroeconomics. First of all, I would like to tell you that what does economics means? Economics means used the available resources and produce the different goods and services. In the middle level of this production, we circulate the production factors. There are four production factors: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. We also consider the reward about these four production factors. For example, we have spent our money to different goods and services. We have used the scarce resources. Scarce resources means the limited income and limited money we are spent for those goods and services which is essential or basic need. This part was also generate the demand and supply, because demand and supply both are determine the price of that particular commodity. So we come to the main topic, introduction to micro and macroeconomics. There are lots of branches of economics like managerial economics, international economics, economic system, monetary economics, public finance, etc. etc. Microeconomics and macroeconomics, these are the major different branches of modern economics. The term micro is derived from Greek word micros, M-I-K-R-O-S, which means small, little, or limited. The term macro is derived from Greek word macros, M-A-K-R-O-S. The spelling is different but meaning is common, which means large or aggregate. The term micro and macro first time used by Ragnar Frisch. Ragnar Frisch is a Norwegian economist. He is used these two words in first time Oslo University in 1933. Then the other economists are adopted these terms. But who is a Ragnar Frisch? Ragnar Frisch is a Norwegian economist. He was Nobel laureate. He also explained the many economic terms. He was the first person who studied the individual firm and producer as microeconomics. Origin of this approach can be tracked back to era of classical economists like Adam Smith, David Ricardo, J.L.S. Mills, etc. Those approaches popularized by neoclassical economist Professor Alfred Marshall in his book Principles of Economics, published in 1890. Other economists like Professor Pigou, J.R. Hicks, Professor Samuelson, Mrs. John Robinson, etc., have also contributed to the development of microeconomics. So, we have discussed the meaning of microeconomics. Micro means small, little, or individual. It deals with a small part of the national economy. It studies the economic actions and behavior of individual units, such as individual consumer, individual producer, or firms, the price of a particular commodity or factors, etc. Then next come to the next point, the definition of microeconomics. You have different definitions given by the different books, but the most important things is your textbook. Textbook's definition. It is always considered in your board exam. So we come to the first definition, the Maurice Dobbs definition. You have to see in the screen definition, the microeconomics is in fact a microscopic study of the economy. Maurice Dobb was explained his definition to the microscopic approach, means the microeconomics means a microscopic approach. For example, we have discussed the A, B and C, these three people's income. A's income is 1000, B's income is 2000 and C's income is 3000. So the total income is 6,000 rupees. That is called the macroeconomics approach. But the micro means per person's individual income. Means the A's income is 1,000. That is called the microscopic approach, otherwise the microeconomics. Then second definition is Professor A.P. Lerner. Microeconomics consists of looking at the economy through a microscope as it were, to see how the millions of cells in the body of economy, the individuals or households as consumers, and individuals or firms as producers, play their part in the working of the whole economic organism. So, which part was explained the learner? He has to explain the microeconomics, consider the per person's income, then the households, then individual firm, industries, and also the production. These all things was explained the learner. In the last year, means the 11th standard, we have last year in the standard 11th, we have studied these two branches but not in detail. In this year, means the 12th standard, we are studying the two terms in detail. So last time we have discussed the Kenneth Boulding's definition. Which things was explained the Kenneth Boulding? Microeconomics is the study of particular firms, particular households, individual prices, wages, income, individual industries, particular commodities, that is called a microeconomics. So let's come to the scope of microeconomics. There are three theories of microeconomics: theory of product pricing, theory of factor pricing, and theory of economic welfare. So the first is theory of product pricing. There are two parts. The first is demand analysis and second is the supply analysis. So it is explained how the relative prices of food grains, cotton cloths, and thousands of other goods are determined. The demand and supply determined the price of an individual commodity by the market force. So this theory was explained the how the price about that particular commodity. And then next is the theory of factor pricing. There are four production factor: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. And the reward of these factor is rent, wages, interest, and profit. These factor contributes to the production process. But the microeconomic theory is often called the price theory. Why? Because these microeconomic theory was explained the prices about that particular commodity, because it mostly deals with the product and factor pricing. Then third is the theory of economic welfare. The economic efficiency means a subject matter of theoretical welfare. Economics, which is the important branch of microeconomic theory. So theory of welfare deals with the efficiency in the allocation of resources. So the first is the efficiency in production. It means the producing maximum goods and services from the given amount of resources. Then next is the efficiency in consumption. It means distribution of these goods and services among the people for consumption in such a way as to maximize total satisfaction of the people. Because we know that we are a consumer and we are consume the different goods and services. So the satisfaction is most important. So if the production increase, so automatically consumption is also increased. Then last is the overall economic efficiency. It means the production of those goods which are most desired by the people. So that is the economic efficiency. Means these three concept is interrelated. So that is called the economic welfare. So microeconomics mainly confined to the price theory and resource allocation. It does not study the aggregates relating to the whole economy. Microeconomics does not study aggregate or the whole economy. Means it's an individualistic study. So it does not study national economic problems, but it study the per commodities prices. So the main thing is, and the major drawback of microeconomics is, it does not study national economic problems such as employment, poverty, inequality, and income. Theory of growth, theory of business cycles, monetary and fiscal policies are beyond and limits of the microeconomics, because we know it's a microscopic approach, it's a per person's, otherwise the particular approach. Okay. So we come to the next point, features of microeconomics. The first feature is the study of individual units. If you have to remember the definition of microeconomics, the all features are there, but this feature we have to study in detail. The first is study of individual units. Microeconomics deals with the analysis of small individual units of the economy, such as individual consumer, individual industries, individual wages, and individual market, and also the prices of individual commodities. So that is the study of individual units. Then next is the slicing method. So microeconomics cannot study the whole economy. It is uses the slicing method, means it divides the whole economy into small individual units and then studies each unit separately in detail. For example, study of particular household demand in detail, or the study of individual income out of national income. Means microeconomics cannot discuss, otherwise cannot study the whole nation's income. It studies the per person's income. Then next feature is microscopic approach. Microeconomics consists of looking at the economy through microscope. Means in detail it is studied, as it were, to see how the millions of sales in the economy, the individual consumer, the individual firms play their part in the working of the whole economy. It is an individualistic in approach. It studies individual tree, not the whole forest. So that is called the microscopic approach. Last time we have discussed the one example, the A, B and C. These are the three persons. We have studied the per person's income. So that is called the microscopic study. The next is the partial equilibrium. Microeconomics is based on certain assumptions. Equilibrium is the balance between two factors. It deals with partial equilibrium, which analyze equilibrium position of an individual economic unit like individual consumer, individual firm, individual industries, etc. But that individual unit studies separately. That's called the partial equilibrium. The next is based on certain assumptions. The microeconomics is assumed that some situation. For example, the law of demand. We are assumed the other things being constant, means your the income, your the taste, preference, habits, and next is the population. The population which is demand that commodity. So these all situations we are assumed it's a constant in the law of demand, but only the single price is changed. So this is the assumption of this law. Otherwise, the microeconomics is based on that certain assumptions. The next is limited scope. Microeconomic scope is limited because microeconomics cannot solve the other nation's problem like inflation, deflation, poverty, unemployment, population, etc. They cannot suggest any option, otherwise the any good suggestion related to that problem. It is a limited scope. Then next is the analysis of market structure. It's analyze the different market structures like the perfect competition, monopolistic competition. We know the perfect competition. The perfect competition means all things are common, and that's why the perfect competition market is an ideal market. And monopolistic market, the no other substitutes are there, price is always changed, so that is the monopolistic competition. So this market structure was analyzed the microeconomics. Then use of marginal principle. The concept of marginalism is the key of microeconomic analysis. The term marginal means the change brought in total by any additional unit. It means the last units, otherwise the additional unit study means a marginal study. So it study a variable through the changes. After using these principles, producers and consumers take the proper decision. So these are the features of microeconomics. So let come, we have to start the next part. So we have to start the next part, importance of microeconomics. And the first point is the foreign trade. What is the importance about that foreign trade? Every country tries to increase the international trade because we know the maximum the foreign currency and the maximum commodities we are exporting, then some commodity we are importing. And what is the importance about the foreign currency? We all know. So the microeconomics also explain the gains from international trade, factors affecting exchange rate, determination of currency exchange rate of any two countries' gains from international trade to a particular country, etc. Elasticity of demand for exports and imports. So we know the foreign trade, the importance of foreign trade. The microeconomics better explain the what is the importance about that foreign trade in that economy. The next is the price determination. We know the microeconomics determine the prices of particular commodity. Basically, the demand and supply both are determine the price. But it also explains how the price of the different products and various factors of production are determined. Why that commodities price is that. That part was explained the microeconomics. The next is the free market economy. It helps to understand the working of free market economy. In such an economy, the economic decisions such as what to produce, how much we produce, and how to produce, etc. These are taken up to the private individuals. These decisions are based on consumers' performance, and we know that preferences of the demand for product. There is no interference by the government. So that part was the support by the microeconomics. Then economic model building. Microeconomics helps to understanding various complex economic situations with the help of economic model. Economic model are built using the various economic variables. Then next most important part is the useful to the government. It is also useful to the government in formulation of the economic policies including like the taxation policies, public expenditure policy, then price policy, etc. These policies help the government. Then the what is the support to the microeconomics in the business? So the business decisions, it's helpful to the businessman for taking the crucial business decisions. It's related to the determination of price of goods and determination of cost of production. Then the maximization of the output and the profit. Basically, every businessman tries to the improve our profit. So the microeconomics was explained that whole structure was supportive to the businessman. The next is the basis of welfare economics. Every country was support to the welfare economy because we know it explains to the how the best result can be obtained through the optimum utilization of resources, the available the natural resources where they are used, and if they are used the maximum resources, so that time they are produce the different goods and services. It also studies how taxes affect the social welfare. The limited income people's tax, then the high rich people's income tax, it's a different. So these are the importance of the microeconomics.